started with the first session of the day, which is the plenary session, ladies and gentlemen. I am now going to introduce you to the topic. We've discussed in great detail about the topics that I've just mentioned, and today, this first plenary session of the day is going to talk about Menarche to Menopause, Health and Wellbeing of Women. Well, we're going to talk about health and well-being of women, and let's now call on stage the panel head for this session, Dr. Neha, Bhumbla, CEO and founder, Indian Institute of Dento-Facial Anesthetics, IIDFA. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome her with a huge round of applause. She's a dental surgeon, aesthetic physician, cosmetologist, and trainer. She's been appointed as Evaluation Commissioner by International Accredited Organization of USA. She has more than 12 years of experience. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Neha Bhumbla, CEO and founder, Indian Institute of Dento-Facial Aesthetics, IIDFA. Well, to join her on the panel, we have Dr. Yagnik, Adolescent Health Educator and General Surgeon, Ramkrishna Samvedna Trust. Dr. Indra, Taneja, MD, FAAP, IAP, Trustee of NSHEE and BUDS NGO and Advisory Trustee of BSPES NGO. Let's welcome her with a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. To join them on the panel, we have Ms. Anju Bist, Managing Director, Saukhyam Reusable Pads. And last but not the least, to complete the panel, let's have Ms. Ishu Shiva, Founder and Managing Director of Sanitree. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this completes a power-packed panel. This is an all-women's panel, and right at the start of the day, this is going to be an electric panel discussion, we suppose. So the panel discussion session is for 45 minutes, including the question and answer. We are running late, as usual, so I would request our panel head to please take it over from here, and the session is going to be for 45 minutes.
First of all, I would like to thank Gramalya, Sai Damodharanji, and Subhash Uncle for inviting me here. So I'm Dr. Neha Bhumbla, CEO and head of IIDFA, Indian Institute of Dento-Facial Aesthetics, where I train doctor in aesthetics and as well as dental thing. So now I would like to introduce my colleagues. Just a moment. So, Dr. Yagnik, she is Adolescent Health Educator and General Surgeon, Ramkrishna Samvedna Trust, and Miss Emmy is a General Surgeon who is also working as a Green the Red volunteer since the beginning of this movement to create awareness for environmentally sustainable menstrual hygiene measure in society. And she's trustee and program manager of Adolescent Health Awareness Program of an NGO called Ramkrishna Samvedna Trust, based at Sitapur, Vasanda, Gujarat. She has reached about 50,000 students through this program every year. So a huge round of applause for her. Dr. Indra Taneja, MD, FAAP, IAP, Trustee and Advisory Trustee, NSHEE, BUDS NGO, and BSPES NGO. She is a licensed medical doctor specializing in pediatrics and adolescent medicine with 40 plus years of experience in USA and more than 7 years experience in schools, colleges, and 3 different NGOs in India. Her expertise is in health, hygiene, nutrition, and environment. She has come across more than 30,000 children and adolescents in her journey. A huge round of applause for her also. Ms. Anju Bist, Managing Director, Saukhyam Reusable Pads. She has extensive experience working in rural areas in India. When Mata Amritanmayi Math adopted villages in 2013, she was part of the team that traveled to the most backward village cluster in 21 states of India. helping begin initiative for the sustainable development of these villages. A focus on providing eco-friendly and low-cost solution for menstrual hygiene, resulting in the development of Saukhyam reusable pads from banana fiber and cotton cloth. That's great. The pads have won many awards in national and international domains. Today, they are sold online as well as exported to countries such as UK, Germany, US, Kuwait, Netherlands, Nepal, and Spain. The team's vision is that the same high-quality pad that is exported should be made available at very affordable prices in remote rural communities. In 2003, she moved back to India, and during the next decade was a part of Amrita University, where she taught environmental sciences. Anju is a founding member of the Women in Indian Social Entrepreneurship Network. In March 2020, she was honored with the Social Entrepreneur of the Year Award for the exceptional impact, clarity, and growth of work dedicated to furthering the UN Sustainable Development Goals from the Women of India for India and Social Founder Network Coalition. This year, she was selected by Niti Aayog for its flagship Women Transforming India Award. So a huge round of applause to her. Ms. Ishu Shiva, founder and managing director, Sanitree. She is the youngest among us. Ishu Shiva is the founding member and managing director of Sanitree. The social enterprise is headquartered in Edinburgh, Scotland, and based in Jaipur, Rajasthan, where Ishu has been leading its Indian operations since 2019. Sanitree is tracking period poverty and breaking the stigma around menstruation in a sustainable, collaborative, and ethical way. Through her enterprise, 27-year-old Ishu trains women from marginalized backgrounds to produce organic, reusable, and biodegradable period pads. Know about Ms. Ishu Shiva as a yoga teacher, social entrepreneur, menstrual health and hygiene educator, reusable sanitary pads manufacturer, product developer, good sourcer in India, traveler, exporter, people person, community developer, promoter of small businesses, and a new YouTuber. Huge round of applause to her also. So I would like to start the topic Menarche to Menopause, health education and well-being of a woman. So first, we will like to know about these two terms, menarche and menopause. Menarche is the first period in woman's life, and menopause is the last bleeding. So women, females spend 12% of their life from birth to menarche. And 40% of their life they spend from menarche, then reproductive years to menopause. And rest 40% in post-menopausal year. So these, we should understand these transition of life and encourage every woman to adequately prepare themselves for these transitions. So menarche is basically beginning of reproductive stage marked by the first bleeding of puberty. But some terms are very important, like precocious puberty. Precocious puberty is the early onset of puberty at the age of, before the age of 8 in females. So we have term early menopause, menarche. So why early menarche is important to know? Because there is an increased risk of breast cancer in later life. Those females, those kids who have early menarche before the age of 8, they are in a greater risk of breast cancer as well as endometrial cancers. So the causes are still unknown, but certain conditions like brain tumors, then abnormalities, infections, some hormone disorders can be related to this. But this early menarche is also linked with high stress, increased stress, poor nutrition, and obesity. And treatment includes medication that delay further development. So puberty basically is the budding of the breast, widening of the pelvis area, growth is there, then pubic hair and axillary hairs are there. But after puberty, around in 2 years, most of the female get their first bleeding, that is menarche. So treatment, if they get their menarche before 8 years of age, so monthly injections are given to block body's production of sex hormone that causes puberty. Then another term is amenorrhea. Amenorrhea means absence of menarche, means absence of bleeding. So there can be two types of amenorrhea, primary amenorrhea and secondary amenorrhea. Primary amenorrhea happens when a female is 13 years of age without the sex characteristic, and no menarche after 5 years of the onset of the puberty, that is also a primary amenorrhea. And if a female is 15 years of age and there is no bleeding, then that is also primary amenorrhea. Coming to the secondary amenorrhea, already a female has bleeding or the menses, but there is a cessation of bleeding which will be for more than 6 months, then that is secondary amenorrhea. So all of us should know about all these things. Coming to the menstruation, that is everyone knows the monthly shedding of the functional layer of the uterus is menstruation. But when it becomes a concern, when to worry about this? When a period lasts for more than 7 days, then you need to seek a doctor or a medical checkup. Severe pain is there during the bleeding between the periods, or sometimes if the bleeding is between 2 cycles, the time is short, less than 21 days or more than 45 days, then this is a matter of concern. Or a woman who has 3 months between periods after menstruation. So there is a gap or skipped period. So they need to go to the gynecologist and do their checkup done. Then there is, nowadays females are suffering from PCOS and PCOD. That is polycystic ovarian syndrome and polycystic ovarian disorder. In polycystic ovarian syndrome, it's a hormonal and metabolic disorder where ovaries fail to release egg due to numerous small vesicle filled follicles. So cause can be excess insulin, hereditary, and there is a hormone that is androgen, that is a male hormone. If that is in excess amount in female body, then PCOS can develop. So symptoms can be weight gain, acne, and they are prone to diabetes. So they need a doctor's help. Then polycystic ovarian disorder, PCOD, that is also common nowadays, where ovaries contain immature eggs. And these immature eggs will be converted into the cyst. So the reason can be the excess junk food, stress, or being overweight. Then the last stage of our life is menopause. Menopause is the end of reproductive years, reproductive stage. And these last from 45 to 58 years. After the female has no menses for 1 year or 12 months, she enters into the post-menopausal stage. But when to worry? Why is it important to know everything? And why, when to go to the, when you need a medical checkup? So females who have skipped cycles 3 or more before the age of 40, they need to go to the doctor. Those who have periods which last more than 7 days, and the females having vaginal dryness, pain, or blood while doing the toilet, and bleeding post-menopause also. So post-menopausal, our body changes and there are so many risks, like risk of cardiovascular diseases, diabetes, obesity, and osteoporosis. Osteoporosis is a condition where bones get weak and porous, and they are more prone to fracture. Dementia and cancer of the breast and cervix or uterine area are very common in postmenopausal. So you need to do a regular assessment. Some tests are very important after the menopause for women. So blood work is done to establish baseline or eliminate condition like thyroid or diabetes. Then lipid levels, test for the lipids because they are in the higher risk for cardiovascular diseases. So after the age of 40 years, female need to get their lipid profile done every 2 to 3 years. And if needed, vitamin D and calcium should be checked. And nowadays, everybody is having low vitamin D and calcium. So if a female having vitamin D and calcium low, so they are more prone to risk, bone diseases. Height and weight should be checked. ECG baseline, bone density scan. Now, 3 tests which are very important are pap test, mammogram, and colonoscopy. What is pap test? It's basically a pap smear or cervical screening, where, like a normal pelvic test done, where a small brush is inserted and cells from the cervix and around the area are collected, and they will be checked under the microscope to check any abnormal cells or precancerous conditions. So that's a pap test. Then we have mammogram also. After the age of 40, females can go for mammogram after every 3 years. That's an X-ray screening for breast to diagnose or examine the breast for any precancerous condition. Because after the menopause and after the age of 40, females are suffering from breast cancer. So if we'll detect early, then we can treat it that way also. So colonoscopy after the age of 55 are colons, that is large intestine. They are more prone for polyp, cancer, irritated tissues. So colonoscopy can be done after the age of 55. And apart from these assessment, healthy choices are very important for females. So some exercises like aerobic exercises, strengthening exercises, balance exercises, and rest. Ishu will tell about the yoga, how important is yoga for all of us. Then diet, nutrition is very important. Supplement they can take. And those who are in a habit of smoking, they should quit smoking, less intake of alcohol, sleep hours should be at least 8 hours, and relaxation techniques. So I'll end my speech by saying few word or few poem for the woman. जन्नी हूँ जीवन भी मैं, जज्बातों पर मेरा जोर नहीं, सशक्त हूँ वे साकार भी हूँ, मैं नारी हूँ कमज़ोर नहीं, दर्पण हूँ वे अक्ष भी मैं, झुका सके मुझे वो शख्स नहीं, स्वाभिमानी हूँ वे आत्मनिर्भर भी हूँ, टूट के बिखरूं अब वो वक्त नहीं, नहीं समझना आधी अधूरी, नहीं अधूरी मैं खुद में पूरी, साथ चलना हो तो हाथ बढ़ाना, पीछे हटना मुझे मंजूर नहीं, नारी हूँ मैं. Thank you everyone. Now I would like to hand over to Dr. Indra for presenting about this topic.
Can I have my everybody? I know Doctor before me has said a whole lot of things, and I don't know what else to say, but I still have something to say, and that is what I'm going to, because health and well-being of women cannot be discussed without the component of nutrition. And as a pediatrician, I believe that if we don't eat, how can we become a healthy person? So a proper nutrition is very important. The menstrual health needs to be defined and pursued as a holistic physical, mental, and psychosocial well-being in relation to menstrual cycle. Menstruation health is a public health and human right issue and forms a framework for women empowerment and enables menstruation with dignity. As we have been talking about that, it's not taken as dignity. Many of my colleagues have talked about menstruation, its physiology, and the bundle of things a woman should know and all that regarding health, hygiene, and sustainable lifestyle. But Womanhood actually starts from conception, but in reality, it starts from preconception. We have to make sure that a girl is healthy before she bears a child. So here my objective is to go deeper into consideration for significant health and well-being practices for women from preconception to delivery of a healthy child, whether male or a female. As a pediatrician, I focus on care of the adolescent, a mother, and a newborn child for first 1,000 days of child's life and then till adolescent, till she becomes a woman. Preconception, nutritional counseling, and primary care services are very important to produce a healthy child, and it starts from the early childhood of the woman itself. So, the need for balanced nutritional diet. WHO recommends, I had to move the slide. WHO recommends, and most physicians recommend, myplate.gov for types and amounts of food to be taken. Our body needs 60 to 70% of carbohydrates, 15 to 20% protein, and 5 to 10% fats. So half of a plate or a thali. And you know how this WHO picked up thali? We used to have a pyramid, if you remember. And that pyramid was a little bit not accepted because that the bottom was cereal group and then the vegetable group. But the scientists have found out that the plants, which have about 4,000 phytochemicals, phytonutrients, that if they make them so tall and healthy and live for thousands of years, if we consume the product of those trees, plants, how healthy we can become. So they accepted our old civilization of Indian, the thali system along with a glass. So thali, and I'm talking about more that. So 15% of the, 60 to 70% carbohydrates you can get from many things, and especially from the vegetables and fruits. Then 5 to 10% fats. So half of a plate or thali should have vegetables and fruits, 1/4 of the plate, and I'll go to the next slide, you can see. And 1/4 of the plate should have cereal group, and the rest of the plate have to have dal, dahi, paneer, eggs, fish, and meat. We Indians have been living as vegetarians for centuries, and we did not have the protein deficiency, but this norm that, if you don't eat meat, you will become, protein deficiency will happen. That's wrong. And remember, in 2014, our PM from the Lal Killa said, we have to increase the production of what? It is dals. Because I'm from America, and in America, people don't know any dals. They only know lentils, that masoor dal, and chickpeas and kidney beans. And that also comes from the Mexican continent. So they have no idea of the dals, and dals are very, very important for in our food group. Okay, so, and the rest of the plate should have dal, dahi, paneer, eggs, fish, and meat, whosoever eats it. A person should have a daily intake of 6 to 8 glasses of liquid, since 70% of body composition is water. We do not get plenty of carbohydrates from, we do get plenty of carbohydrates, as I just mentioned, from all the 3 groups. But the proteins, which are very smart and make us smart and make our muscle mass and the bones, are the ones which we have to focus on. They're not that much that we need. If you're 60 kg, 60 grams. But how to get that? Unless we mix all this thali together, the whole grains with vegetable, fruits, and the dals, and unless you combine all that, and then one will say, how I'm going to find out, how I'm going to tell the mother or a woman that what she's feeding the child or not. If she gives the child a roti, and child says, I don't like dal, I don't like sabzi, I don't like this, I don't like that, then mother will say, okay, just take some chutney, just take some sugar, just take something, or the rice. But they're not realizing that the child will have enough energy to run around, but the child will not have the necessary proteins, because there are 8 essential amino acids, which are proteins. Unless they make a chain from the combination of all these three things in the plate, those proteins don't get to our body and they don't make the muscle mass and they don't let us, and as you see that, these essential amino acids, they don't get absorbed to the body and the stunted growth problem, malnutrition continues. So another thing is that we are herbivorous animals, okay? And herbivorous animals have a different physiology than the carnivorous animals. I'll just touch upon it. We don't have the big teeth to cut our prey. We don't have the molars to chew the food, which herbivorous has. They don't have the saliva, the carnivorous. Main thing is when they take their prey, they put it into their stomach, which needs a lot of hydrochloric acid to digest it. But we don't need it because half of our food is chewed and digested in the mouth only. And the last but the least, the main thing you have to remember, our gut is 20 feet long and their gut is 5 feet long. So 4 more times the longer gut is needed because the fiber passes through the gut very fast. And if you have a short gut syndrome or if the gut is cut because of some surgery, then we can't even take the normal food we take because, and we all know that dog or a lion, if they get constipated, they eat what? Grass, fiber, because nature knows what they need to do. So it's very important for us to have a balanced nutritious diet. And without that, the problem is going to get. Okay. So I didn't want to go too much into it also, but just enough to tell you that unless a mother feeds. Oh yes, the one more point. When people say that, oh, how to give you this, I'll give you just 3-4 points on the menu, which you can explain to the mothers or the women you are dealing with when they're talking about the menstrual problems and all that, or talking about the pads, that if they make aloo, pyaz, gobi, parantha, so it has vegetable, it has the roti, the cereal group, and eat with the yogurt, dahi. You got all the ingredients. The same way if they make dalia with the milk and the cereal group, plus put banana into it, they got everything. I mean, these are few little tips that mothers may say, I don't know what to make. Unless they are educated, if they don't prepare it, their children are not going to get it, and whatever they continue to do, the children continue to do that. And that one of the reason is that nutrition has been put on the back seat and nobody talks about it. Mother feels happy that child, kuch to kha liya bacche ne. Okay. So, yes, womanhood and its challenges are plenty. In rural and urban areas, in schools or as a housewife or a working woman, there is no pause button for women. Observed even during corona epidemics, the struggle and challenges for women do not subside. More awareness of women to physiology and anatomy of their body and associated health, hygiene, nutrition, anemia, sexually transmitted diseases, emotional deprivation and support is urgently required. In many societies, a woman is considered a second-hand citizen, coupled with hormonal and biological changes of menstruation cycle. A woman is given a low status and lower dignity of shame. I'll ask those men or those societies who treat women with shame because they menstruate, how they came onto this earth if their mother didn't menstruate. So if they are treating their daughters or their wives, or their sisters with, shame and all that, how were they born? They should think about it. Impact of emotional deprivation. A study in Barcelona, Spain found a lasting impact of childhood neglect. If a child is given a quality time, not just only quantity time of care for even half an hour a day by the parents or a caretaker till the age of 3, it makes the child very bright and smart in all their rest of their life. as a pediatrician, I'll give you a scenario. What is a scenario? A mother, a young woman, gives birth to twins, a boy and a girl. The boy has been pampered by the whole family, chachi, mami, everybody is feeding, talking to them, and children are very curious. As a pediatrician, I know the first thing they say, kya hai, when they start to talk. But the girl, which is not preferred by the Indian society to begin with, and gets neglected, is put aside, cries, khana de do, nahi cry kiya, to chalega. And so what is happening? That food is what gives 70% of the blood goes to the brain for the food we take. And also, if the child has not been, as I said, this Barcelona study, if the child has been just given quantity time, okay, but not the quality time of a half an hour a day till age 3 years, their brain growth stimulus is not happened and they are going to lag behind. So here but due to social taboos and norms, society generally neglects health and nutritional needs of girl. So our slogan, I've been telling Prime Minister on Man Ki Baat, but it has not been accepted so far, maybe it didn't reach him. The beti bachao, beti padhao. No, beti ko khilao bhi. अगर बेटी को खिलाओगे नहीं तो दिमाग कैसे बनेगा, वो आगे पढ़ेगी कैसे? So बेटी khilao should be a very, very important aspect in the Anganwadis in Haryana area where I go and UP. I have put this slogan on the walls of the Anganwadis, beti bachao, beti ko khilao or beti ko padhao. Okay. So at the age of 6, now that these two kids have grown up, twins, and the boy naturally is smarter because he has gotten all tidbits from everybody and gotten fed also very well, but the girl did not. So she's going to lag behind in the studies. She gets she gets naturally lags behind in studies and gets beating from the school, beating from the parents, but it's not her fault. It's the fault of the society who has neglected her. Okay, so 70% of what we eat, as I said, it goes to the brain, and the child who is not given all this is weak and depressed and due to anemia and poor, unhealthful upbringing. So the impact of emotional deprivation. As at the age of 11, 12, the menarche starts, as doctors talked about. Hormone physiology, menstruation starts creating a feeling of guilt. Girl starts missing school. And on days of her menstruation, she doesn't go to school or becomes a dropout from the school or becomes a victim of early marriage. Like in the area where I go, in Haryana, Mewat, they are not even letting them study till 5th grade. Forget about sending them to 5th grade even. So many of the girls don't ever go to school or after 5th grade because the menarche starts. And so they are made to sit at home or they become victims of early marriage, and which becomes another problem. Because to save the honor of the family, with even lesser care by in-laws, अगर माँ ने नहीं खिलाया तो क्या सास खिलाएगी उस बच्चे को, उस लड़की को? And then the marriage means pregnancy, start of pregnancy. And especially the boys and girls, they have to grow up to 18 years of age. Their caloric need is much more. And now this young girl who is a teenager getting married is not taking care of herself, but the fetus growing inside her also. So what is going to lead to? The small gestational age child as well as the low birth weight babies. So we in India, we are not going to get out of this vicious cycle of stunted growth, malnutrition, child and mother's maternal morbidity and mortality and all that. So we have to really, the India which is ranked high in malnutrition and all that, we have to combat it. And how we can do it? We have to do it with the good nutrition and change the social norms. It's sad that many women in society grow up thinking of menstruation, which is normal, regular physiological process is a sin. It leads them to feel as if something is wrong with them or that they are... Just one more thing. So what I've done, because this is a very important part of this, because our girls, our students, when I go to the schools, they don't even know the anatomy and physiology they don't even know their anatomy and physiology and why the menstruation happens. And so I make them wear an apron and show them where our uterus and ovaries are located. And that way they understand, because the girls and boys don't even know what our anatomy is. And also very, very important that the boys in the schools have to be also taught this, so that they have this bringing from the very early understanding that the women not only menstruate because they just happen to be women and menstruating, but because it's a sign of creation. If the woman does not menstruate, she cannot bear children. And the last thing that I will say, I just want to, let me. This is the same picture of that. Sorry. What happened? Sorry, don't worry. So the last thing I will say, we have to train the trainers, and the trainers have to train the families. Trainers have to train the families, and we as doctors, as social workers, as nutritionists or the psychologist or anybody, when we are talking to them, that we have to tell them that how important is the nutrition part of it, as well as how important is to keep the dignity of the woman. So in society, both boys and girls should be given such information in detail. So the mindset of treating menstruation as evil and treating women with the lower. And, you know, the doctor already had mentioned that when the egg comes from the, we all know it, but when we are teaching them, when the egg comes from, because they wonder why the bleeding happens. When the egg comes from the ovaries, one either side of the ovary, then the uterus gets coated with the blood padding, because we have to keep the egg protected. And if the conception doesn't happen, sexual act doesn't happen, that egg has to be thrown. So the uterus shrinks and throws away that blood to get ready for the next month, the next ovary to produce, bring the egg back again into, so to continue the creation. So to promote women's, the dilemma is that we want to empower women, but thereafter the society does not know how to handle the empowered woman. To promote women's dignity and aspirations, society needs to improve its understanding and outlook. Thank you very much.
Next, I would like to invite Ms. Anju Bist to say a few words about their organization.
Thank you, Doctor. So from Menarche and Menopause, we learned about so many things. Thank you for the wonderful presentations. I just want to share my experience from Menarche to Menopause. I was living in the US so many years ago, maybe more than 20 years ago. My husband and I, we had both gone there for higher studies. And then we got jobs and we were working there. And somehow I was introduced to reusable cloth pads. I don't think at that time in India, today in India, there are about 20 brands of reusable cloth pads. But I don't think at that time anybody in India made them. So this one shift that I was fortunate to make in my menstrual hygiene practice, shifting to a reusable cloth pad more than 20 years back, I would say that one change helped my journey from as a menstruating woman till menopause. My periods were so much better, so much easier. So we talk about environment, we talk about health also, the lack of, the presence of chemicals and toxins in disposable sanitary napkins. Recently, there was this report by an NGO, I'm sure you'll have all heard about it, a Delhi-based NGO that studied for the first time in India 10 brands of disposable sanitary napkins. And top selling brands of disposable sanitary napkins, and found dangerous chemicals and toxins in all of them. And in the presentations we heard yesterday, we have seen how, this can enter our bloodstream through the vagina. The vaginal skin is very permeable. We know all these things. So we talk about all this when we talk about reusable options, environment, health, and we talk about the saving of money also, because rather than spending money month after month, you only have to buy one time with a reusable option, isn't it? And that lasts you many years. But what we don't talk about, and I think that is a very well-kept secret that needs to come out, and I mention it from my own personal experience. With reusables, our period experience is so much more better, so much more wholesome. We have seen this again and again. Of course, the first 2 to 3 months when somebody is shifting from a disposable sanitary napkin to a reusable sanitary napkin, there's a learning curve. You're changing a long-standing habit. Even if you're 20 years old, you have perhaps already used disposable sanitary napkins for maybe, already a decade. To form any new habit takes some amount of effort, isn't it? But make that effort, and we make sure we say this to folks who want to try, that give yourselves 2 to 3 months, make the shift, and then we see people never wanting to go back. They say that their body tells them that this option is far better for us. We were working on a project with Tata Memorial Hospital. It was actually a research project from an international university, and they were doing early detection of cervical cancer in women who live in slums. So as you may know, so many of you are working in communities. Poor menstrual hygiene is a contributing factor to cervical cancer. And there is a very high incidence of cervical cancer in India. So the team decided, after doing this early detection, also wanted to counsel the women that, these are the steps you can take to make sure that you are not prone to cervical cancer. And the team gifted reusable sanitary napkins to all of the women who participated in the study. And this was very early on. Today, India has notified standards for reusable sanitary pads. And, like I said, there are more than 20 brands of reusable sanitary pads available in India. But what I'm talking about is maybe 3 to 4 years back. So, when international institutions such as this come forward based on research, they recommend practices like this. There's bound to be some evidence behind that practice, isn't it? So this is, just want to leave you with a short video. We make reusable pads also. We are an NGO. I'm part of the Mata Amritanandamayi Mutt. Perhaps you've heard of Amma. She is, this year, India has the presidency of G20, and the government of India has invited Amma to chair the C20. C20 is the voice of civil society, and I hope, so all of us represent civil society here, working on the cause of menstrual hygiene. Amma started Saukhyam reusable pads so that women have a good means for menstrual hygiene that is accessible, that is affordable, and B, they have a source of income also from producing these pads. So this is just a 1-minute video. Saukhyam means happiness and well-being. It's a Sanskrit word. And really, from my own personal experience as I shared, making a shift to reusable sanitary pads, that's all. That can ensure happiness and well-being for the rest of our menstruating lifetimes. This is, ये मैं दावे के साथ कह सकती हूँ. Thank you. Please, if we can have the video, please.
Or indication seeing which a mother can foretell that her daughter is about to begin with her first period.
I think here being the educators, I think all of us are, what we are into is creating awareness in the society about menstrual health primarily and women's health in general. So the theory part that what needs to be done, I think we all know. How much time do we have left? How much time is left? 10 minutes. So I think we can, instead of going into theory of what all that we need to know, I think I would prefer to say a few words about the main issues which are there in ensuring the health and well-being of women. When we are saying the menarche to menopause, and everybody touched that, I think we need to start from womb to tomb and not consider a woman just as we have been a vulnerable species so far, and I think it is high time that we are treated as an equal in the society. And everything that needs to be done to create that, that's what we all should be working for. So accepting us as an equal human being in the society, and that goes into everything, be it rightful nutrition, be it the right to education, be it the rightful part in the to avail of the health. See, the health-seeking behavior of a woman is dependent on how we are brought up. So our health, even if we have a problem, right from the birth, we are taught to suffer and suffer in silence. So I think that we need to focus on parenting part so that we know our right, basically right to have everything that a human being needs. So we as a citizen should have the right to education, right to nutrition, right to health and everything. And in all our program, I think our hands are full in a way that we need to touch each and every section of the society, and be it, say, teachers, parents, policies, everywhere we need to have this single point agenda that everybody should get what is rightfully theirs. Okay. So if we work with that motto, then what are the good practices which will bring health in the society that will come about? Like we are saying that so the prevention, first is the rightfully whatever needs to be done. In prevention, the vaccination will come for cervical cancer, for childhood illnesses and everywhere. So primarily, whatever that can be prevented should automatically we should receive, and that should be the part of our policies. And going further, in the education, when we are focusing only on, say, a woman's education or menstrual health, we are limiting the woman for only a reproductive organ. And it is not true. So instead of that, a holistic health of a woman should be our aim. And that is why, and not only of a woman, I think when we don't include man into the picture, okay, then the women becomes like in isolation in the society. So all our programs should include health of a human being. So even when we are talking about menstrual health, we should be talking about adolescent changes that occur not only in girls but boys, and taking it further. When we are talking about the reproductive health of a woman, how man can contribute towards the health of a woman by taking the rightful responsibility for reproductive health. It's not only a women's issue. And when we are, so in each and every stage of the program, we all should be having a lot of churning about what all that can be done to improve the well-being of the society in a true sense. I think that's enough for now.
Very good.
Very well said by Dr. Amy. Not only the education of the girls about this menstruation is important, but we should educate our sons also about the menstruation and everything, so that they can help. Not and every reproductive health of men also. Yes, correct. Oh, yes, correct. Yes. As a human being, we should talk. Yeah, correct. So I would like to question Miss Miss Ishu, as she is a yoga teacher. So could you please tell us what are the 5 major lifestyle rules which all women should follow to have a healthy mind and body related to the yoga?
Good morning, everybody. This is Ishu Shiva. I've come from Jaipur. Okay, so I'm going to tell you what I have been facing as a yoga teacher and how I am here today. So basically, when I was a student, there was an NGO that came to educate. I was studying in a government school in Goa, and there was an NGO that came to teach and take classes for us. So for me, menstruation was very normal, and I came to know about periods just before getting them. So I was very fortunate, and I did not realize how fortunate I was until I shifted back to Rajasthan in 2011. And then I continued with my studies of yoga. In India, what I noticed is we don't practice yoga as something, a healthy lifestyle. We think that it is some asanas, some exercise to twist and twirl your body, and then it is to be done only when you get a disease or something, and to get cure, to lose weight, to gain weight, all those things. But it's not a part of a lifestyle, So when I used to counsel, that was whenever I enroll a student in my class, I always ask why they want to practice this. Until and unless your goals are clear, you will not achieve them. You will not think about achieving them. So most of the women used to come with problems that could link directly back to poor menstrual health as well as overall health, neglected health of a woman. Let me start, just think about yourself, think about your moms, think about your sisters. If it is, so people are coming for your hair loss, coming for really bad migraines, bad eyesight, with your thyroid, weight gain and weight loss, poor emotional health. Emotional health is very poor, and reproductive health, allergies, PCOS is very common, and joint pains and everything. So what does this lead to? And I was really shocked by this. This is the kind of health of our country. This is the present condition, and this is the leading condition of our country. If the woman is not healthy in the house, your family cannot be. Do you agree? Right? So if we think about our moms, she would feed the entire family, but whatever is remaining in the last, she'll have. She'll be like keeping her in the last, no preference at all. And then if there is any disease she's facing, any allergies, she will go to the doctor only when it is unbearable. Isn't it? Why is it so? Neglected. So for us as moms, as girls, first we need to prioritize our health. Think about moms, because I think it's very hard to go back and send her to school to, prioritize herself. There's no school like that. There's no school on this planet that can teach a mom to prioritize her health. Isn't it? So what do? we take a step, right? We take as a step as a son, a daughter, right? What about your wife? Maybe in the beginning of the year, she health conscious and everything. But what happens over the period of time? She neglects her health. Her health gets neglected, and what do you say, लापरवाही होती है उसकी health के साथ बहुत ज़्यादा. Right from the time the school, like from the time she gets her period, neglected. The health is neglected there. The nutrition is deprived from her. Differentiations are made there. Even if that is happening side by side, when she gets married, she conceives a baby, the health, there is lack of knowledge, and people think, you know, we should be following the Western kind of a culture for this, what our grannies and all used to tell. Is everything wrong? I just want to tell all of you that there may be myths and stigmas, but there are a lot of values that your grandmoms had for your health to survive today with a healthy, you know, woman reproductive health, isn't it? I think if you imagine all your great-grandmoms, you know, grannies, they were much, much healthier and stronger in body compared to what your moms are, and then compared to your health, isn't it? Why is that? Why is that? They did, of course. So I have, for around 8 years, after also studying yoga and traveling to many different countries, I have been training even yoga teachers about lifestyle disorders. This is the biggest threat that we are following. And your chemical wala pad and all is also a lifestyle disorder, ladies and gentlemen, isn't it? Okay, right. So your lifestyle, right from how you wake up, how you sleep, how you rest, how much you're eating, everything, and what practices you're doing, how you're watching TV or mobile, everything can be linked back to your lifestyle disorders. And PCOS and everything, is it a medical problem like that existed? Is it hereditary? It is a lifestyle disorder majorly, and which can be corrected with a proper lifestyle. So there should be, the conscious level should be right from the root level to the next level. So here, I would invite all of you to really indulge with healthy practices overall, and become aware yourself, and then spread the awareness that there should be consciousness about what a woman is going through from menarche to menopause. We've been speaking about period products all day long. Although I'm a cloth pad manufacturer, but my idea here is not to promote my product. For me, if you guys take back this learning, you know, of bringing this conscious level, really not neglecting women's health, prioritizing that for your mom, for your wife, for your daughter, this will be the biggest achievement. And yes, indulge in a lot of healthy practices, right? I'm sure not one of you is also drinking enough water in a day. Forget about everything else. Are you drinking enough water in a day? Very good. See the glow in her face. I think we need to clap for her. Do we have to be doctors to do that? Do we? Or do we have to become sick in order to learn that you have to drink enough water? No. There is a saying in Hindi, बोले सुबह की सैर अच्छी होती है सबको पता है. पता है ना? सुबह की सैर, morning walk is very good. Everyone knows, right? But how many of you all practice? Is the question. How many of you all practice that you really know? Everyone was aware about nutrition and whatever they spoke. I'm sure you all knew. But how do you practice that at home with yourself, prioritizing yourself? I think just one last note, because the time is very short. One last note. whatever you eat today, however, you're going to take care of your health today, is going to decide how you're going to be at 40s, 60s, passing the menopause, until the old age, isn't it? Is it worth neglecting your health? It's not. It's the most prestigious thing that we have is our health. So, yes, before educating everyone else, I think you should start practicing with yourself. And only if you're healthy, people would like to listen to you. If you're going out there with a very unhealthy body and your emotional health, nobody wants to listen to you. Isn't it? All right. That's it from my side. Thank you very much.
This Women's Day, let's change the narrative together.
Well, let's change the narrative together is the message that is delivered by this wonderful video. And with this, we come to the end of this wonderful panel discussion where the motive is very clear. If wealth is lost, something is lost. But if health is lost, everything is lost. So do prioritize your health. And before we felicitate the panel, I have a very special announcement to make. We have with us Ms. Ishu Shiva, founder and managing director, Sanitree, and she has something very special with her. And Ishu, since we have paucity of time, 30 seconds, please explain what you have with you.
Right. This is a very special moment for me. There's a book that launched, one-of-a-kind book launched about women entrepreneurs. 20 women entrepreneurs from around India who got trained under a program. Their life story was narrated in a graphical manner with a very extremely special artist who does the graphics only for a social cause. So all these women entrepreneurs from across India promote sustainable businesses, and this book is going out in lakhs of institutes, colleges, startup hubs, and yes, many different countries basically. And I am very, very fortunate to be featured in one of these books. that says the journey of Sanitree, how I started as a student, then a yoga teacher, and how I am impacting the lives in Rajasthan. All right, I would like Sir Damodaran to please do the honors to launch the book here.
I'd request Mr. S. Damodaran, Padma Shri Shri S. Damodaran to please join us up the stage and do the honors as we unveil the book. Ladies and gentlemen, he's one man who has dedicated all his life for MHM, and today this is an honor for us that this book is being unveiled here at the 3rd MHM India Summit.
Also, Geeta ma'am. Here, I have. Geeta ma'am, please come as well.
Well, we'd like to congratulate Ms. Ishu Shiva for this wonderful unveiling of a one-of-its-kind book. We'd request our dignitaries to please do the honors and unveil the book. Yes, 3, 2, 1, go. Congratulations, Ishu. After this, I would request Mr. S. Damodaran to please felicitate our panel head for this panel discussion, Dr. Neha Bhumbla. Dr. Ami Yagnik to please step forward for the felicitation. I'd now request Dr. Indra Taneja to please step forward. I'd now request Ms. Anju Bist to please step forward for the felicitation. And last but not the least, I'd request Ms. Ishu Shiva to please step forward for the felicitation. Ladies and gentlemen, it indeed has been a wonderful, very thought-provoking panel discussion where they have touched upon nutrition, health, and overall well-being of women. Thank you so much, ladies. I'd request you to be seated. Thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I have a few very important announcements to make. Well, the participation certificates are on the registration desk, so before you go, do not forget to collect them. Please collect your participation certificates for the 3rd MHM India Summit 2023. They are on the registration desk.